We're Mel and Susan Finlay, National Directors of NationNet Prayer. This month, we're privileged to talk with leaders from many different walks of life as we explore Canada from coast to coast to coast and discover the impact of prayer in their own lives as well as in the life of our nation.
Today, we are speaking with Sue Mosteller, a sister of the community of St. Joseph. As member of the L'Arche community for 40 years, Sister Sue has lived with individuals with disabilities, served as community leader and as international coordinator, succeeding the founder, Jean Vanier. Internationally sought after speaker and author, she also serves on the Henry Nouwen Legacy Trust. Welcome, Sister Sue. We're just delighted to have you here today.
Thank you very much.
You know, it strikes me that your life journey is a remarkable adventure with God that He has used to really refresh and impact the lives of others. How has your relationship with Him and prayer impacted this journey?
I would say that God has been leading the way for all the years that I've been in ministry. And I've tried to be faithful to prayer. I'm not saying my prayer is that wonderful, but I have tried to be faithful, and God is the one who is faithful. So as I went along, God led me through the different places, and God is the one who's responsible for what the outcome is.
Well, He led you in surprising ways,
Absolutely.
I think. Can you talk about a surprising way that He led you?
You know, I could never have imagined the journey that I've had, and I'm so grateful for it, but I could never have imagined it as a young person. I wanted to become holy. That's what I wanted when I was young. I wanted to become holy. And so I dedicated my life to God as a sister of St. Joseph when I was 19. And I thought I was going to teach school for the rest of my life, and I taught school for 15 years. And then through a lecture that I heard of Jean Vanier, things opened up for me, and gradually I was led to join the community of L'Arche, which was something as sisters, we lived in convents. We didn't go and live with another group of sisters or another group of people. We lived in our own convents. And here I was going to join a group of people with disabilities and young people who came from all over the world, and I was going to just be in the house with them as one sister and apart from the group of sisters that I have traditionally lived with. That was very, very new at the time. And then I began to travel a lot, and that was new because we used to be quite stable in our own places. So I was able to travel, I was able to meet people in I don't know how many countries all over the world, and to listen to their stories and also to help them to found the communities of L'Arche that were there. So it's been wonderful. And then when Henry Nouwen came to L'Arche, he was a writer, and we began to do retreats together, and we did a thing. And then Henry died suddenly, and suddenly I realized that I was the literary executrix of his will, which I had to get defined for me before I started. And so I've been working now on his legacy, and that was also new and very different.
Now, you have an enthusiasm and a sense of purpose about your life that's really contagious. How do you maintain that? And what advice would you give other people about that?
I think the spiritual life requires some disciplines, and we don't like that word so much. But if we see it in the light of becoming a disciple of Jesus, I think it changes the whole meaning of it. If we're going to be disciples, then we want to practice a way of life such as Jesus did. And Henry articulated that well for us. He looked at chapter 6 in St. Luke's Gospel, where early in the morning, or Jesus goes up the mountain and he spends the whole night in prayer to God. Then he comes down and he calls the disciples and the community around him, and then he goes to preach. And Henry used to say, we start at the other side. We go out and we run around and do things. When that doesn't work so well, we try to get a few people to help us. And when that all breaks apart, then we turn and try to pray. But I think getting those priorities straight, and so I try to be faithful to pray in the mornings and just to be present, and then to live peacefully in my community, to try to love each person, to try to serve and where I can, and to try to let people give their gifts to me. Let it be a mutual return and exchange of gifts.
What you say about prayer is so timely because our focus this month is prayer. How has your own prayer life and way of praying changed over the years?
Oh my. You know, I think at the beginning I said my prayers.
Yes.
Yes.
And I said them faithfully, and that was fine. I think today, as I realize how God really doesn't need me to do all that, and that God is the one who has been faithful, that God reaches into my life and just wants to be in communion with me. I think when I really began to understand that God loves me, that I am God's beloved daughter, that changed then. I can be comfortable with God, and God isn't waiting to, for me to say all the prayers that I have to say. God is waiting to be in communion with me, to reach out.
You know, that is such an important part of just recognizing that God loves us and stays with us. Thank you so much for sharing yourself with us today. We appreciate it.
I'm happy. Thank you very much.